$2 billion worth, exporting to 120 different countries all around the world, advanced manufacturing, health technology, everything that we want to see a lot more of across New Zealand. And so it's been a real privilege for Nicola and I to come and visit this organisation and understand how they continue to grow so strongly, and also to be able to sell high quality New Zealand products and services out to the rest of the world. Good to see this morning, I thought, the Infometrics report suggesting that there is optimism in the economy as we look to, as they say, a projected growth of 2.5% by the middle of the year. But we know we've got a lot of work to do this year, which is why Nicola and I keep saying it's all about growth, 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 and that's what we've really got to do. With that, happy to take your questions.
Has the government school lunches scheme turned into a debacle?
Oh, look, I think as the Minister, David Seymour, said yesterday, there are obviously some teething problems around timeliness and making sure that the quality of the food is at the standard that's been contracted. I know he's working incredibly hard at that, and we expect him to continue to make sure it gets into the right place.
The fridges broke down today, no kids in the pit got their lunches. Is that a breach of contract? Have you looked at
Again, those are issues for David Seymour to work through as the Minister responsible for school lunches. But, yes, there'll be some teething problems, as you saw yesterday, around timeliness, and it's important that the quality and what's been contracted is actually delivered. So we expect him to work very hard on getting that into the right shape.
As a business person, do you know if that contract has penalties if they don't meet what's required of them? Do you think they should have penalties?
I'm not aware of that. That'd be a good question to ask the Minister.
Both Simeon Brown and Shane Jones have had protesters at their announcements today in Waitangi and Dunedin. What do you think that says about the sort of policies and announcements that have been made? And also, second to that, are you concerned about Minister's safety at the moment?
No. We don't talk about our security issues, but we have good protections in place. But more importantly, we live in a democracy, and people are free to express their point of view to do that. What I'm proud about is in both of those announcements, you're seeing Simeon Brown as a new health minister come to the South to say to the people of the South, we're going to build you a fantastic hospital. It's going to be adaptable. It's going to be able to expand. It's going to be future-proofed. And if you're living in Southland and living in Otago or living in Dunedin, we're going to build you a great hospital, exactly as we committed to. We inherited a hospital pass literally on it, but we're fixing it, cleaning it up, and we're going to deliver it.
What are your thoughts on Shane Jones while we're talking about him? He's effectively giving the middle finger to the suggestion that everyone should watch their rhetoric and tone it down. He has, I've lost count, quadrupled down at this point, I think, and is still going on saying quite outrageous things about Mexican people. What are you going to do about it?
Well, I'll just say to you, as I said yesterday, and I saw Winston Peters say remarks yesterday that said they didn't get the expression of their statements right. That's good, but importantly, it's up to each individual member of Parliament. And I've seen comments from all parties actually over the last week or so. And actually, everybody just needs to take, as I said yesterday, that beat between stimulus and response. Think about what you want to say, but most importantly, we are here to deliver for the New Zealand people, and what they want us focused on is how we grow this economy and we create higher paying jobs for them and a future for New Zealanders. So,
what are your thoughts on the Mexican embassy getting involved in?
Well, again, those are issues for Winston Peters to deal with as foreign minister, and you can see that he's going to meet up with the ambassador. As I said yesterday, he made a statement about they probably didn't get their expression right, and that's good that they've taken responsibility for that. But ultimately, everybody's responsible for their language. I appreciate people are going to express things differently in our political systems. You've got different leaders and different parties talking to different constituencies, and they may express things differently from each other. That's okay. But actually, we want to make sure that the tone and the rhetoric is in the right place.
Is it good enough that it took an ambassador and an international relationship to actually bring this to a head on Winston Peters to say that maybe they should have said things slightly differently?
Look, again, not what I would say. All I can say is call all members of Parliament, irrespective of which party they belong to watch their language
and they are
to
your
watch their
coalition
rhetoric.
partners and they are your ministers. Why do you not have any ability to rein this in?
And what I'd say to you is every MP across the Parliament needs to watch their language, and that's what I keep exhorting people to do.
You're not responsible for every MP across Parliament. Te Pāti Māori can deal, the co-leaders can deal with that. You are responsible for cabinet ministers, and they are not listening to what you're saying. Shane Jones is going rogue on you. When are you going to sort it out?
You heard Winston Peters say yesterday they didn't get their expression perfectly. You've seen him say he'd happily have a conversation with the Mexican ambassador. They're going to do that, as I understand it, around Waitangi. That's fantastic. And I'm just saying to everybody, watch your language. I'm not the language police. I need to make sure that actually we are delivering for the New Zealand people. That's what we're focused on. But I am exhorting all members of Parliament to watch what they say.
Do you have a responsibility around Parliament standards, do you think, as Prime Minister?
I have a responsibility to make sure that my team is delivering for New Zealanders and improving results, and that's what they're doing. As we focus on fixing up the Dunedin Hospital mess, as we focus on making sure we get growth back into the economy, and we actually create high-paying jobs and a future for New Zealanders that are here.
If he was a national MP or minister, what would you be saying to him?
Well, the same thing I've said to I'm saying to all MPs, they're saying, hey, listen, watch your language. If you think you got it wrong, say you got it wrong. Winston did that yesterday, acknowledge that, and importantly, and move on, but actually make sure that you think about what you're saying.
Just on the back down over the Oranga Tamariki funding, is that a sign that those cuts went too far?
It's. I met with the Minister the night before last, and we both came to the view that, look, it's been poorly managed as a process, frankly. We obviously want to reinstate the Barnado's funding specifically, but also making sure that any contracts that have not been renegotiated or signed actually continue to roll over with their current terms and conditions. And that is part of a broader piece of work that we have to look at across the whole of the social services sector that Nicola will lead with Andrew Costa through the Social Investment Agency, which is we do have to start to think about how we do commissioning and procurement of social services in a much better way going forward. And so what this is doing is saying, look, let's put the freeze on what we've been doing. Let's actually make sure people go back to what they had if they haven't been renegotiated, and we put it into a bigger piece of work, because what we find is our procurement and commissioning is incredibly complex. We deal with multiple projects, multiple contracts of multiple agencies, of multiple time lengths, and all of that needs to be sorted out in a different way, and a different approach needed.
There's also been a back down over the Kāinga Order wool tendering process. Is that another sign that when you're making these decisions, they're not being carefully considered, you're rushing through cuts and money-saving initiatives?
Well, let's be clear, that's an operational decision for Kāinga Ora to make. It's not one that we as a government would have supported, but that's an operational decision they initially took. It's been very good to see that they've since reversed that decision, and that wool carpets will be part of that submission process or that tendering process.
Nicola Willis, can I carry on this theme? Sorry. Nicola Willis, just because obviously you've said it's going to be a zero budget this year, there's likely to have to be more savings, potentially cuts elsewhere. Do you think they need to be under a more considered approach given the same?
I haven't said that, Katie.
You have said there'll have to be savings.
What I've said and what I truly believe is that the best way that we can generate the money we need to invest in better schools, better hospitals, is to grow our economy faster. And that really is my focus, because every time we get more tourists or we get more exports, that brings in more tax revenue, which gives us more choices about what we invest in. That's my focus. I could spend a lot of time thinking about how we save $20 million here or there. What's more important is how we make the next $200 million, the next $2 billion. That's my focus.
Does that mean there'll be no cuts this year to public services?
Of course, just like every household and every business, we say to the public service, don't be wasteful, make sure you're looking for efficiencies, new ways of doing things, prioritise money to where it can make the biggest difference, and for us that's services to people. Of course, we will ask that of our agencies, as any good government should. That should be expected. Our focus, however, is how do we grow this economy so we have better incomes for New Zealanders in the future, better choices about what we can invest in the future.
The Climate Change Commission said New Zealand could cut emissions by 17% by 2035. Yet your plan aims to reduce emissions by about 51 to 55%. Why is your target so much lower?
Well, look, I mean, we're delivering on our international obligations and commitments, but which is deliver net zero 2050. I think what the NDC2 target does is actually aligns our internal goal of net zero 2050 as well with our external commitments through Paris. And so I'm very comfortable with where we've got to there. You've seen our ERP2 plan suggest that we've got the potential to actually reach net zero 6 years earlier in 2044. So, we'll do everything we can to make sure that we are meeting our environmental obligations, but also this is a country and a government that is not going to shut down the economy. We need growth. We need to be able to support our people and make sure they see there's a future here. And that means we've got to say yes to a lot of stuff while also delivering on those environmental goals.
The Greens say your target is embarrassing. What do you say to that?
Well, no disrespect. I don't take any lectures from the Greens around how to run an economy or a country.
And on the other side of that, you've got the farming community saying that this is unrealistic and isn't going to work either. So what do you...
We might just have it right then, do you think?
Well, Well, what do you do? I mean, you've got stakeholders on both sides. Presumably you're interested in what climate change stakeholders are saying, and presumably you're interested in what farming community is saying. Both of them are unhappy.
I think we've got the balance exactly right, and I think we've got that right, and it's good to see our external commitments and obligations now aligned to our internal obligations and commitments as well. So, what we're focused on is making sure that we prioritise growth above everything else as we go forward, because this is a country we don't have the luxury to turn growth off. We have to get things done. But we can drive growth, and we can also deliver on those commitments.
What are your plans for Waitangi Day, and does it sit well with you that you're not going to be at Waitangi?
Oh, look, it's been quite normal. You've had former Prime Ministers not go to Waitangi each and every year. I've had a long-standing position, actually since I went to Ngāti Whātua with Bill English before I even came to politics, that actually it makes sense to go around the country where the treaty was signed and actually celebrate the day with other iwi as well. So we'll make an announcement next week as to exactly where I'm going.
Alrighty.
Cool. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yes, I was going to do that.
Good.